Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're cutting through some of the noise around that big new law, the One Big Beautiful Bill Act of 2025. Our mission for you today is pretty straightforward. Unpack two really big pieces. That's the enhanced child tax credit and these brand new Trump accounts. We want to give you the essential insights, what it all means for your family's financial planning. Okay, let's unpack that child tax credit first. The CTC, we've heard about increases, sure, but what are the actual details? What's the real impact here?
Right. So the OBBB Act, it makes the maximum CTC $2,200 per qualifying child permanent, under 17, and it gets indexed for inflation starting in 2026.
Okay.
But, and this is really crucial, that $200 increase, it's non-refundable.
Oh, non-refundable, okay.
Yeah, which means families actually need enough tax liability to get the full benefit. So this tends to shift more of the benefit towards middle-income folks. It might actually offer, well, pretty negligible value for the lowest-income households who don't owe much tax.
I remember that whole debate. Temporary boost versus permanent but slightly lower amount. What does the final choice tell us? That permanent lower amount.
It really signals a focus on long-term stability, predictability over, say, a short-term bump. The Senate's view won out there. They wanted permanence. The House pushed for $2,500 temporarily, but nope, the final law went with the Senate's $2,200. Stability was the priority.
Got it. So permanence won. But it seems like it's more than just dollars, right? Eligibility rules can have huge weight. I remember hearing something about a Social Security number requirement. What's the final word there, and what does that mean?
That's a really important point, yeah. Probably the most consequential change, policy-wise, is this new rule. It requires both the child and the parent, or parents, on the tax return to have a valid Social Security number.
Thanks.
Okay. And this is a big policy choice. Projections show it affecting around 4.5 million U.S. citizen kids.
Wow.
Yeah, kids in what they call mixed-status families. So they're effectively excluded now. It fundamentally reshapes who gets this credit.
Okay, so that's the CTC changes. But the same bill introduces something completely different. Long-term focus. These Trump accounts. What exactly are these? Who are they for?
Yeah, they're definitely a novel concept. The idea is to foster an ownership society, as the bill puts it, giving young Americans a stake, basically. They are tax-deferred trusts set up for minor U.S. citizen kids under 8.
And the government puts money in to start them.
Yes, but it's a pilot program. Just for 4 years. For kids born between 2025 and 2028, there's a one-time $1,000 government contribution.
$1,000, okay.
Right. After that, families can put in their own money, after tax, up to $5,000 a year. Oh, and employers can also contribute up to $2,500 tax-free for the employee.
How's the money invested? Did you get, investment options?
That's maybe the most fascinating part. Zero choice.
Really? None?
None. All the money, every dollar, is mandatorily invested in a broad-based U.S. equity index fund. It's a pretty significant policy decision, It means every single beneficiary is exposed to market risk right away. And maybe the goal is to, familiarize a whole generation with owning stocks, tying their future to the U.S. economy's performance.
Interesting. So when can kids actually get this money out, and what for?
It's tiered access. They can get 50% out at age 18, and then the full amount, 100%, becomes available between age 25 and 30. The qualified uses are pretty broad, though. Higher education, first home purchase, starting a small business, even a farm.
Okay, so thinking about education, most people think 529 plans. It sounds like for just college savings. 529s are still maybe better on taxes.
Yeah.
So what's the real advantage of these Trump accounts then? Especially with that mandatory investment thing. Who are they really best for?
You're exactly right about education. 529 qualified withdrawals are totally tax-free. That's hard to beat. With Trump accounts, any earnings on qualified withdrawals get taxed. Long-term capital gains rates. Okay, so not tax-free growth withdrawal.
Correct. The strategic edge for Trump accounts, is twofold. One, the broader uses home, business, not just education. And two, that initial $1,000 seed money from the government. But that mandatory high-risk investment, even close to needing the money, like for college at 18, it really makes them more of a supplemental tool for education, not the main one. Probably best suited for families wanting to kickstart general asset ownership for a child, get the market exposure early on.
Okay, makes sense. So how permanent is all this? Are these laws locked in, or could things change again?
Well, the core changes to the CTC, the $2,200, the inflation indexing, that SSN rule, those are technically permanent. Same for the basic structure of the Trump accounts.
Yep.
But that $1,000 government contribution for the Trump accounts, that's explicitly temporary. a pilot program just for kids born 2025 to 2028.
Right, the pilot. Exactly. And you have to remember, this whole OBBB Act passed on really thin partisan margins. Plus, it adds trillions to the debt. So despite being permanent on paper, there's definitely significant fiscal and political uncertainty ahead.
Okay, so wrapping this up, what does this all mean for you listening? We've seen the enhanced CTC offers, a modest permanent tax break for many, and these Trump accounts. A pretty unique government-seeded savings option. Flexible uses, but maybe less tax efficient just for college compared to 529s. The deep dive is all about giving you those insights, helping you stay truly well-informed. So here's a thought maybe to chew on. How do you balance these different pieces? The immediate tax benefits of the CTC versus the longer-term seeded savings of Trump accounts, especially knowing some parts are permanent and others temporary. Something to consider as you map out your family's financial road ahead. Thanks for diving deep with us.